Let me unmute myself first. All right. I see Brielle. All right, can everybody hear me? Say yes in the chat, nod your head, something or another. Okay, good. So this is automatically recording. So we're just gonna jump in. I told Brielle, I was like, I'm gonna try to keep this short. But I honestly feel like we named this the perfect thing because this is like the number one thing that Brielle and I especially have been going through a lot lately is these growing pains. And so we're just going to jump right in. And I want you to think about like, what do you think about whenever you think about growing pains? What pops into your brain? What pops into my brain is like this wildly awkward, like 13-year-old Amber who's trying to like navigate friendships or relationships, who has acne, who has braces, right? Like this is really weird, awkward phase in your life that sometimes we don't understand, especially when we are going through it in the moment. We're like, oh, like, why do I have to have braces? I don't understand, right? You don't understand why you have that awkward phase in your life until afterwards you look back on it and you're like, wow, like I became so much stronger because of it. And so when you are going through growing pains in your business, I want you to think about that. And that's going to be kind of what we touch on a little bit tonight. Because sometimes the fear of the process, the fear of the growing pains, the fear of the awkwardness is what keeps us from playing the game in the first place. And it keeps you in that spot, that weird phase that you know you deserve more than that. But it keeps you there because you're too afraid to actually step forward into it and grow along the way. And before we dive into it too much, I want to just kind of start by saying, like, for me, number one, the process started for me with accountability, with understanding that it took me a year and a half to go 4K. And that's 100% my fault. That's 100% on me. And I know that everybody's journey looks different, that everybody comes from different backgrounds. I came from absolutely no network marketing experience before. I get that. Everybody starts at zero though. But why are we comparing ourselves to the people who have been in this industry before and then they joined with Le-Vel and automatically they're like 200K in 5 months, right? The reason why you are at the place where you're at in your business right now is on you. And I sat in that for a long time. I sat in that like, well, how come I'm not there yet? Right? How come I hit 4K and I'm still at 4K almost a year later and I'm still sitting there? Okay, that is 100% on me. And when I actually started to take responsibility for that and be accountable for it, I don't want to say like my business changed, but like I changed. The way I ran my business changed. The way I started to show up started to change. And so ask yourself, like, are you accountable for where you're at in your business right now? And I want to kind of do like a little bit different tonight. And I want to see like some engagement on here. I want to know, like, in the beginning or even now, raise your hand if you've ever had awkward conversations with potentials or with your customers. If you've ever felt like you completely word vomited on everybody. Did you? Yeah, everybody, right? Did you learn through it? Did you grow through it? Are you getting better now? Right? Yes, we all are. Or did you give up? You didn't give up. You're here on the Zoom. What about live videos? Live videos for me, oh my God, held me back for the longest time. I still did them, but like I psyched myself out. I still get super nervous before I do live video. Who gets nervous before live video? Everybody. Are you learning through it? Are you getting better? Is it getting easier? It gets easier, right? What about promoters that have joined your organization? Raise your hand if you've ever had a promoter that completely left, a promoter that ghosted you. a promoter that said, oh my God, this is life changing, and never spoke to you again. Right? What did you do with it? Did you say, well, crap, like I'm just not good at this? Or did you learn through it? Did you grow through it? What about learning to lead people on your team? How awkward is that? Stepping into that leadership role. I know for me in the beginning, before I even had my personal chat with my downline, I used our team page. I'm just going to say it. I used it as a crutch because I was like, wow, like look at all this. I don't have to do anything. Right? They don't need me. They're unicorns. They can figure it out. I figured it out. Okay, my ego got in the way in the beginning of my business 100%. And I assumed that everybody was going to be just like me. I assumed that everybody was going to figure it out on their own, that they were going to find the time to run their business, and that if they needed me, they would come to me. But not everybody operates the way that I do. And when I started to have people leave my business, I'll talk on this for just a second because it is something that I'm definitely growing through even now. When people leave my business, I sat in the place of, okay, well, that's on you. And do you guys know the Enneagram? I'm an Enneagram type 2, which is the helper. And my second strongest one is a 9, which is a peacekeeper. And a couple of things I've learned about the 2 and the 9, they really care about what other people think about them. They really want to feel loved. They want to feel needed. And they will do anything at any cost to avoid conflict and to keep the peace, right? And to keep everybody happy, even if it means that you jeopardize your own happiness. That's something that I'm learning about myself, especially with people who have come and joined me in this business and have ghosted me or have completely left. I did nothing. I let them go. But when I think about it, I'm like, okay, how many girls would still be here with me if I had the courage to talk them through their fears? If I had the courage to have those difficult conversations with them and say, what's going on? Tell me what you're struggling with so that I can help you through it. Instead of letting my ego get in the way and saying, well, that's on her. Like, if you really think that you've done everything that you can in this business after you've put up a curiosity post, like, do you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? My ego got in the way because I was like, that's on them. That's not on me. But really it was. It was on me because I didn't step into that leadership role for them. They joined me and they trusted me for a reason, and I let them go. I hope that's making some sense to you guys. But what about, like, another thing I've had to learn through is Zooms. I opened up my own chat with my downline, super awkward, super, like, I have always been the type, I'm a nurse and I don't want to be the charge nurse. I don't want to be the person who's like making any decisions for anybody else. I just want to show up and do my job and go home. That's always been me. And so I didn't want to open up my own downline chat, right? I didn't want everybody looking at me. I was like, they can figure it out. Like, we've got the team page, right? And then I had a girl who was like, how cool would it be if we had our own chats, if we had our own team Zooms? And I was like, what? I was like, are you kidding me? Raise your hand if you've ever done your own team Zoom, where you were the one that was leading and you were the one that was talking and everybody was looking at you and you thought you were going to pee your pants. Okay? I don't know how I'm not peeing my pants right now, but how many of you have led your own team Zoom and no one showed up? No one showed up. What did you do with it? Did you close it down and say, well, screw this? I guess I'm not doing something right. No, I recorded it anyways. I recorded the information and I said, here it is, you guys. If you want to catch the replay, here it is. And eventually I built that trust with my team that they do show up on a Zoom. Does that make sense? How many of you have done a one-on-one coaching call with somebody in your downline and they never showed up? That literally happened to me today. Okay. And what did I learn from it? I learned that I have to stand up for myself and I have to say, okay, I need you to be respectful of my time. We agreed on this time, right? You learn through everything, through this growing pain season that's going to come in your business. And I really, truly don't know. Em could probably speak on this more. Brielle could probably speak on this more, but I really don't think these growing pains go away. I think that you are just going to continue to, like, they're just going to get bigger and bigger, right? And so if you're not learning through what you're going through right now, why would you ever be blessed with a promoter that has the same vision that you do? Why would you ever be blessed with a team that's ready to run? Why would you ever be blessed with that rank that you want so bad? Right? Who are you becoming in the process? I took some notes, so that's why I'm looking down, but I wrote down this. I don't know if it was from a podcast or where it was from, but I loved it. I wrote down, if you really want to achieve great things in your life, you have to be willing to accept who you really are right now. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What are you good at? What are you not good at? Where do you need to grow? And this right here is really painful, right? Because what it does is it forces you to recognize that you're not where you want to be yet, because you're not who you need to be yet. And if you can just realize that and acknowledge that you still have building to do, then you're halfway there, because your ego is out of the way. If you recognize that, hey, I'm not good at this yet, but I can get a little bit better. Hey, my conversations, like, I'm totally word vomiting on people, but I'm going to get better at this. Hey, my live videos are really awkward, but I know with time they're going to get better. Then you've won half the battle by knowing that it is a process and that you are going to grow along the way. And I want to share something with you that I was listening to Tony Robbins. He's one of my favorites. I like Tony Robbins. I was listening to him this morning, and he said he was talking about two things that trip people up. And he was saying, number one is strategy. I think he was talking to like actual like corporate America people, but he was talking about number one is strategy, right? Like how do I get to my goal? Right? With us, that's like, how can I beat the algorithm? What time can I post? And how can I get more followers? And it's like all these things that we try to do to figure out how can I get to my goal and how can I do it really, really fast, because it's not as painful if you go fast, right? I don't know. I think I disagree on that. What do I need to do to be able to get to my goal? He's like, this trips people up because it's not about the strategy. And he used a gym example that really resonates with me because I am a gym rat. But he said, you take somebody that wants to lose weight, for example, and they say that, right, you hear this all the time, like, I've tried everything. But realistically, what did they actually try? Did they try these like random diet pills that really just jacked up their metabolism? Did they try to work out like 2 days a week when really they were eating Cheetos on the couch? Were they inconsistent with their workouts? Were they not drinking enough water? Is it their strategy that was messed up? Or was it number two, which is their story? The story of, well, it's too early to get up and go to the gym. I don't have time to go to the gym. I'm big boned. I'm just never going to be at that weight that I want to be at. I'm really embarrassed when I go to the gym because I don't know how to use these machines and everybody's looking at me. Have you ever felt this way? I used to feel this way about the gym, believe it or not. I used to not want to go to the gym. I didn't have the energy to go to the gym, for one. My husband used to drag me there all the time. And I had this awkward phase where I was like, I don't know how these machines work. I'm just going to stick to the treadmill. The treadmill and the elliptical. Okay, if that's what you're comfortable with, you start there, but you get your butt in the gym. And you quit telling yourself the story that you can't do it, right? That's when you're going to start to see change. When that person actually believes, yes, I can lose these 15 pounds, it's going to happen for them. And especially if they have that consistency of going to the gym, the consistency of drinking their water, the consistency of doing all the things they know they need to do that puts them in alignment with their goal, they're going to start to chip away at it. And they're going to lose that 1 pound, right? You're going to get that one promoter. You're going to get that one team builder, and you're going to start to gain your confidence a little bit. And it's not going to be so scary. But if you keep yourself from even doing it in the first place, then you might as well give up. If you're constantly telling yourself that you can't do it, that you're not good enough, that whatever story it is that you're telling yourself in your head. And one thing that Tony Robbins said this morning, oh my God, I'm going to write this down somewhere. He said, divorce your story and marry your truth. Write that down. Divorce your story, the lies, the limiting beliefs that you're telling yourself inside your head, that you're worried about what whoever's thinking about you, that there's industry is too saturated and there's too many people out here doing the same thing, that you're not good enough, that you don't have time because you work full time. All these stories that we tell ourselves. Divorce your story and marry your truth. Your truth is, maybe you do work full time like I do. What does that mean for you? Maybe that means, unpopular opinion, that I wake up early and I stay up a little bit later, because that is the chapter that I'm on right now. But I do that because I know that if I wake up early and I stay up late and I integrate this business into my life because I do work full time, one day I won't have to work full time. One day I won't have to wake up in the 4 o'clock hour. One day I won't have to stay up so late. Don't lose sight of that. And the last thing I want to leave you with is your blessings are already lined up for you. And have you ever thought that you just haven't achieved those blessings yet because you're not the person that you need to be yet? Because you still have growing to do. And maybe, just maybe, your blessings aren't monetary right now. They're not supposed to be monetary for you right now. Maybe your blessings is this tribe of women that you can go to and you can lean on and have that support. Maybe your blessing is that you're becoming a more confident person. Maybe your blessing is that you're learning how to stand up for yourself. You're learning how to say no instead of saying yes to everybody else. Maybe those are your blessings right now in this chapter on this page. Does that make sense? So don't dig up in fear what you planted in faith. When you join this business, you put all your faith into it, and you had a vision at some point of where you were going and why you were doing this. But every time you go to click live on that video, you're digging it up. You're digging up that little seed that you planted in faith, and you're literally about to throw it in the trash can because you're so scared of the process. And it's in the process that we become who we need to be to finally get to the blessings that we want. That's really all I had for y'all. Those are some things that I've learned along the way.
We both signed under M's thing. I knew you were starting, but I didn't think that you were actually going to start the Zoom. So we were both starting the Zoom at the same time, and then I was like, wait, what is happening? So we're both M tonight. It's fine. Hi, guys. If you don't know who I am, I know it says Emma Hastings, but I'm Brielle. I'm a 40K leader on our tribe, and I have been going through a lot of growing pains. And I think that was a big reason why I wanted to talk about this, because I kind of wanted to talk about my growing pains that I've been going through personally and kind of share some story time with you guys. So if you don't know my journey, basically I started 2 years ago. I started in May 2018. And it was a slow start. It was a fast start. I hit my VIPs, I hit my 4K, but then it was kind of like this lull period. And so it was about 17 months into my journey is when I hit 12K. And then it was like, okay, like I've hit 12K, I've hit this goal. Okay, 40K is next, but like that seems so big to me. But I am 40K as my background on my phone, and I thought that, yeah, it would happen eventually, but like that's probably gonna be another 17 months. I didn't know it'd be like 8 months later or so that I would be hitting 40K, which is crazy. But I didn't know the growth that was going to happen after I hit 40K. I felt like when I hit 12K, I was ready for it. I was full on like, yes, 12K, I'm ready for this level. This is great. And then it's like I hit 40K, and it wasn't that I wasn't ready for 40K as far as the business. It's like I wasn't ready for 40K life. Like, have you ever felt like that where life, like, I know we have our business as ranks, but think about life being in a rank. Like, when you start out at life, you're like this little brand promoter. You're like a little baby in life. And then you're this 4K, and you're like 4K, let's say that's like the awkward, I don't know, teenage years or something. And then you're like 12K, you're like living your life in your 20s with your auto bonus. And then you're like 40K, and you're like, holy crap, I'm an adult. Like, this is really intense. And so I've been going through this growth of, when I hit 40K, I didn't go through much of a growth of like leadership with the business. It was more of life, personal. And so what my growing pain has been, and let me know, we can interact too and raise your hand, but let me know if you have been really having a hard time integrating life and business, like showing up for your business, and you're like, but life is happening, but like my depression, but like my anxiety, but like I'm working so much, or but I've got this I got going on, I got this I got going on, I got this I'm working on with my kids and online school or whatever it is. Like, you have life going on. My kids started pre-K, so we're starting all of that whole business and having to do all of that. And so I know so many people are going through so many things right now, but I hit 40K in May, and pretty much right after that, just life happened. My depression got really, really bad. I started seeking therapy because it was getting so bad, and therapy ignited more memories. And I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know it was possible to have memories that you didn't remember. And then therapy kind of unlocked those. And it's like I didn't know how to handle it. And that led me to, June was pretty much a blur to me. And to be honest, it's hard to talk about it, but I did talk about it on my social media eventually, because for me, I can't show up on my social media and do my job if I'm not being completely honest. And so that's why it's hard, because I've been still struggling with my depression. I've been still struggling with my anxiety. And so to still show up on my social media has been hard. And that's something that hasn't been hard for me. You see my previous trainings, and I've always been like, consistency, like show up, you show up no matter what, all these things. And now I'm someone, having a hard time showing up. I'm having a hard time showing up no matter what. I'm having a hard time fighting my depression. I've had to start medications. And so sorting through all the medications and the if anyone's been on any type of medication, it messes with you in any kind of way. And so showing up for that and being honest about that has been hard. And so that's been a growing pain of mine. And so I think for me, even being on the Zoom and talking about it right now is really hard. And so in June, it had gotten so bad. My mental state had gotten so bad that I ended up going to a medical facility for 10 days. So I was Baker acted for 10 whole days, and had to be in an isolated facility to get meds started, to figure out what was going on with me mentally, because my depression had gotten so bad. And I didn't know what it was. And people would be like, why am I so sad when I have so many things to be grateful for? And I don't know if anyone else has felt like that, where you have this depression of like, I don't know why I'm so sad I don't know why I feel so anxious. I don't know why I feel so down when I have so much to be grateful for. I have so much to be thankful for. Nothing even happening really around me. Nothing really particularly happened. I'm just so sad. And I'm just keep thinking, and I love that you said that, Amber, about what's the story you play in your head. And I feel like I've been playing this story in my head for months now of just this depression. And that hit me when you just said that, Amber, of like, what's that story? And you need to divorce your story and you need to marry your truth. And that's been something I've been struggling with, and I haven't struggled with in a long time. I haven't struggled with this in a long time. And so it's been hard for me just as a human, as a mom, as a wife, to be battling this depression and to be battling this anxiety that I've been battling the past few months. And so you might see me on this Zoom and be like, I don't see it, like you were smiling and all these things, but yet we have a behind the scenes, right? We have a behind the scenes that we can go on a Zoom and we can hop on a Zoom with our team and do what we need to do for our business real quick. And then behind the scenes, I can get off and I just want to be in bed all day because my depression's so bad. So, or trying to figure out my meds out, and talking to my psychiatrist about that. And so, and it's something that's hard to talk about and that's not talked about enough, or that's not talked about on a Zoom. We're not going to, I can't show up here on this Zoom and be like, you just keep going and you just keep going no matter whatever helps you, because I haven't been doing that. I haven't been showing up like I need to. I haven't been doing what I need to do, but I'm also not perfect. And so my hope is that by sharing my story, my hope is that by sharing what I've gone through, is that it helps someone else that's like, you know what, I'm going through that too. You know what, I'm battling deep depression too. You know what, I'm battling really bad anxiety too. Or I'm stressing out about my kids and their school and doing online school too. I'm stressing out about whatever it is that you're stressing out about, and knowing that it's okay to stress out about it, and to maybe you get caught up for a few months and you're trying to do this and that, but the fact that you don't give up is the huge thing. And so that's what I have to give myself credit for, is there were so many times where I'm like, screw it, like that's the first thing we're going to want to do, right? Is we're going to want to put this business to the side. We're going to go, you know what, I have too much going on. What's the one thing that I can just quit on? I'm going to quit on this business because we're in charge of it. We can't just quit on our kids. You can't just quit on your 9 to 5. You can't just quit on, your husband. You just can't quit on life and being an adult. We can't just quit on that, but we can quit our business because no one's really holding us accountable for that. And I think that would be a huge mistake, because something that Katie said on her Zoom last week, which was so good, and it said, would you commit to this process if you knew that in 3 years that you would be in blank situation? And I love when she said that. And she's like, if I could say, in 3 years time, this is where you'll be. You just got to stick it out for 3 years. You just got to stick it out for 5 years. This is where you'll be. Would you commit to that process? And I think we all be like, oh yeah, if you told me that in, 5 years, my husband will be home full time. Heck yeah. Okay. I'll commit. I'll go through the growing pains. I'll go through all that stuff. I'll fight this depression. I'll fight this anxiety, because when you're in that depression and you're in that anxiety, you feel like, why am I going through this? And then you feel like, one, you feel like you're the only one going through it. And then two, you feel like, why am I going through this? And you're scrolling and you're seeing everybody else and their cute little posts, and you're seeing all their little things, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, I've been going through this season of just like seeing so many people killing it and showing up. And I just like, I feel like it takes everything in me some days to just get out of bed and do my daily mom stuff and to just do that. And so, but that's something that I personally am growing through and I need to get through, and I need to share. I feel like I need to share that on my social media, because I haven't been. I've just been kind of behind the scenes struggling with it. And so I think this Zoom is kind of helping with opening up about that a little bit, because it's been something that's been really hard for me to talk about. But I think that was such a good point that she said. So I want to just kind of end it with you guys on that. Like, would you commit to this process? And I mean, think about in life, we can't just quit on life. And that was what was happening with me. I just wanted to quit in life. That's why I ended up having to go to that medical facility, because I'm like, I'm just done. I had never gotten that low before in my life. And I think that's why it's taken me so long to pick myself back up, because I've never gotten that low before in my life. And then with the medications and everything like that, it's just been messing with me. And I'm trying to still do my 3 steps, and I'm trying to get back into my workout routines. I'm trying to get back into my workout, my routines and everything before. And then guess what? The result of me being in a facility for 10 days and doing all of those things, I wasn't showing up, which means I wasn't as involved with things as I usually was. And I lost some people along the way. I lost some team members. I had girls go to different companies. I had people quit the company altogether that were on my team, and I've lost my rank since then. So that's the thing too, is I've still been able to maintain my 12K and do that, but I've lost my 40K. So that's the thing of it is too, is it's like sometimes we have the ranks of life, right? And then sometimes we feel like we just lose it. Like we're just like, where did I feel like I got to this level, and I got to this level in my life, and now I'm this adult, and now I just felt like I was losing control over that. And I felt like when I hit 40K, it was like, okay, Brielle, you're an adult now. Like you're got kids you got to take care of, and you're adulting, and you know what I mean? You just, all of a sudden life hits you in the face, and you're just like, okay, you really have to take care of you. And I've been in a very just taking care of myself season, and trying to really dig down deep, working with my therapy, and showing up the way I can, and sticking with the people that I know have my back and they'll trust the people that you can trust. So I just kind of wanted to end it with that note, that would you commit to this process if you knew that in 3 years from now, that in 2 years from now, that you would be in that situation? It's going to be hard. Life is going to happen. There are going to be things that happen in life. There are just going to be things that happen in life. I mean, life is unpredictable. Life is going to happen. We're going to experience things, but don't think of this business as something that's a burden to you. This business isn't a burden. It's a blessing. It can be something that can help with that. It can be something. I had to be in a medical facility for 10 days. This business helped pay for that. Then when that medical bill came in from me going to the hospital, like, this business helped pay for that. This business helped that while I was at the medical center, I was still getting paychecks. You know what I mean? Like those types of things, which is, not a situation that I want people to be in, that you're in a hospital or you're in a medical facility. But the fact that my husband was still getting a paycheck from our other income was a huge help to us. You know what I mean? So, and to be able to pay that in full and be like, we don't have to have medical debt. We can pay off this, $3,000 medical bill right now because of the $12,000 bonus that I earned last year. You know what I mean? Like things like that, that you never know when you earn something. When I earned that $12,000 bonus, I didn't know that I was going to need that, because I was going to hit a depression, or that I didn't know when I was building the team that I was building that I was going to need that team to help carry me through a really hard time in my life, or I was going to need that team, or I was going to need this business to carry my family through a really hard time in my life, that I would still get weekly paychecks. And that's how I have to look at it, as is that blessing. And so I might not have seen it for months and months and months after. I didn't know that when I started this 2 years ago, that would be why I needed this. But you might not see that then. You might start this for a certain reason. You might start this because you're like, yeah, I want to pay some groceries off. But then 2 years later, it's helping you pay off medical debt because of something unexpected that happened. You know what I mean? Like you might start this for one reason. You don't know why, because you went through those growing pains of life, of just the seasons that we have in life. So, I kind of just wanted to touch on that. I hope that this helped and was helpful for you guys tonight. I hope that it yeah, I just hope that it helped. Thank you guys who hopped on. And if you hopped on tonight and you just grew yourself, I hope that it grew you. I hope that it helped you. And yeah, thanks guys.
All right. Thank you. You guys have a good night.